If I was to ask the people that you work with regularly, your boss and your colleagues, to describe your leadership style, what would they say about you? Hi, I'm Dave Edwards. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to talk about your leadership style today here on YouTube. Thank you for joining me very much. I want to remind you that I have written a book on leadership techniques, how to move from just being a manager to a leader. The book is called Be a Leader, Not Just a Manager. Check it out at my website, daveedwardsmedia.com. If you enjoy these kind of topics, if you are concerned about how to grow as a leader and as a manager, I think you will appreciate the book. Be a leader, not just a manager, at daveedwardsmedia.com. Okay, every leader has their own style. I mean, Steve Jobs was a different type of leader than Bill Gates, yet no one would argue that both weren't successful. Some possess the renegade visionary style, while others might take a more conservative approach. But no matter the individual style, we see certain things that emerge in the very best. Leaders are good communicators. If you can't articulate a vision, you won't be able to move your team forward or convince them of the necessity to change. According to a Navalent study on developing exceptional executives, top executives are constantly transparent and balanced in their communication. They effectively translate their view of business potential and challenges, as well as expectations for actions using concise, direct, and readily understandable language in doses that are easily digestible. They devote time to their connections. Another characteristic, leaders are good listeners. That same study states that top executives are distinguished by consistency with which they listen to and actively seek out the ideas and opinions of others. They incorporate other views into their plans to solve organizational problems. They learn from the past while aiming for the future. Past successes and even failures can be very instructive. That's not to say that successful leaders buy into the philosophy of, oh, we tried that years ago and it didn't work. We're not going to do it now. Leaders build loyalty within their team as well as with customers and other stakeholders. Successful leaders are optimistic. They know when to take risks and when a more limited approach is appropriate. Some of that's based on experience as well as just gut instinct. Leaders are not afraid to research and to be inclusive of the thoughts of others. They know how to motivate their employers and take on the role of coach. It's really important. I've often said that that is probably the number one role of a leader, and that is to be a coach of your team players. And leaders establish the tone and are the keeper of the culture. The attitude of a CEO permeates throughout the organization. If the leader is risk averse, you won't see a lot of innovation from the employees. So if I asked your employees if you embody these characteristics, what would they say? Which ones would they like you to work on? Put your thoughts below in the comments section. I'd love to read them. Hey, I want to remind you of my leadership book, Be a Leader, Not Just a Manager. I go into depth on some of these very topics in the book. So if you enjoy this kind of content, consider picking up the book. All the information is at daveedwardsmedia.com.